I think it's important for us to remember Charles Foster because, in my opinion, he was a hero.
Charlie Foster, as far as I'm concerned, is the standard bearer for what all of us ought to be about.
He's a good example. We can always point to Charlie and say, you know, Charlie did it, and he was the first. So how can we quit?
You always remember the first. There's no doubt about that. And as a black man, you have to remember the first in South Carolina because he went through the integration.
I think recognizing the first is not nearly as important as recognizing the human being who was the first. The man who gave so much of himself, took such a toll on his life that he was never the same. He was never what he intended to be.
I knew Charles Foster from high school. He graduated from C.A. Brown High School in 1966. In high school, he was a very affable, buff, outgoing guy, football player. At Citadel, he was still very fit, very buff, but very reserved. Something had changed.
Charlie had to go through pure hell. The isolation is probably the big thing because you're isolated so much as an African American.
And that sense of isolation weighed heavily on him, and the community had so much invested in him that burden and that pressure was not only at the institution, but when he left the campus and he would go home.
But I also know that he felt the strength to continue on because he knew he was doing something that was very historic and that would make a statement for generations to come.
The connection you have to this institution is emotional, but we are bound and determined to make sure we don't repeat the mistakes we made 50 years ago with Charlie Foster. The only way you can make this place better is tell the stories of people who have been here, both white and blacks. Tell the story of how they found an accommodation for each other, how they found a place where they could be friends, where they could socialize, where they could have an interaction.
We need to celebrate what he began. He truly opened the doors for what we're seeing now, the racial diversity, the gender diversity that we're seeing now is all because of Charles Foster opening those doors. And to me, we need to celebrate him and elevate him to the position of honor that he deserves.